Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Eric Goodman. I'm here with Jessie Salas, our Foundation Training Program Director. I'm going to take you through a couple quick exercises. It's going to take us 4 or 5 minutes, and it's going to be a get out of pain right now. Practice this as often as you can. When you do it, you're likely going to feel better, so get really good at it. A couple quick exercises. We'll start with a hip width founder. We'll take that into a forward fold and we'll go from there. Keep your weight on your heels. Make sure that your heels are ever so slightly wider than the toes. Get as tall as you can, as big as you can. Take a big breath to the front of the ribs. When you're doing that, don't collapse the back of the ribs. Take a bigger breath to the back of the ribs. Push the shoulder blades out of the way. Now it's a simple counterbalance. Keep the head up as high as you can. Keep lifting at the base of the skull as the hips and hands move away from each other. Pay close attention. Jessie's knees are not straight, but they're also not in a squat position. They're kind of right in between where they're above or behind the ankles. The hips are pulling the knees. The knees are not pushing the hips. From there, let's continue this by pulling the hip joints back as far as you can, bending the knees even a little further if needed until your hands reach the floor into a forward fold. Now here's the key. A forward fold is not a low back stretch. It is a thoracic spine musculature stretch and a hamstring stretch. This curvature is made for flexion. This curvature is made for extension. Don't mistake the two. Get that stretch here. So Jessie, take some big breaths that pull the rib cage almost up through your shoulders, elongating and widening the thoracic curve, keeping the weight behind you like somebody is actively pulling your hips behind you. It should feel like the hamstrings are shaking a little bit and stretching a little bit. All of your weight is behind your heels, and your hands are kind of pulling away from the pull of the hip joints. Keep that stretch along the paraspinal muscles of the thoracic spine, not the flexion of the lumbar spine. Use the hamstrings now to slowly start pulling the hands back to the shins. Pay close attention to Jessie's head here. He's going to pull from this pointy bone at the base of his skull. He's going to pull from the middle of his thoracic spine. That stays neutral now as the hamstrings shorten to leverage his torso up back into that founder position. When his lower back is strong and supported and the hamstrings are stretching, we'll bring the arms forward right back to that original counterbalance position. The posterior chain is working hard here. Pressure's in the heels. The toes are kind of reaching forward like a pair of talons. His arms are in this closed kinetic chain position, which widens the back of his neck, but doesn't drop the front of his chest. He's working hard. Maybe 2 more deep breaths. The next breath is right across the midline of the mid-back, pushing the rib cage out of the way, filling the back of the lungs. Use the posterior chain by pressing the heels into the ground and stand up. Shake it off for just a moment. And we'll go and we'll bring back an old school lunge stretch. We'll do it the right way. Let's go left foot forward, right foot back. This stretch is all about opening up the front, opening up the sides, and opening up the back of the rib cage. You're stretching the same side of the torso as the leg that's behind you. So with the left leg forward and the right leg back, with the hips in the same direction, same line, like the legs are actually walking forwards. You're going to lift the torso, lift the base of the skull. Bring the arms, let's start here at about chest level and just take a big deep breath that sort of fills the circumference of the whole torso here, front to back. Big active arms. Now take those active arms with controlled lats, so you're not hiking your shoulders up. You're using the lat muscles to leverage the arms up, keeping the neck long, keeping the shoulder joints wide, as you then subtly laterally bend and lift away from the back leg. When you do that, don't fold at the back, that's weak. Fill the back of the lungs, pull the rib cage up and back, elongate the entire oblique, elongate the psoas, elongate the abdomen, but don't do that by crunching down on the opposite side. This is a lift off, not a lateral bend. Lift. Big deep breath in, fill the front and back of the ribs, pull the legs at each other like a pair of scissors, come back to center, relax the arms, and let's go ahead and switch feet. Right leg forward, left leg back. It's all about the setup. Your feet are not on a balance beam, but they're pointed in the same direction. They're not turned out away from each other. Your hips are square. In fact, you see the pointy thumb that Jessie's got at the front of the hips here? That's kind of like your directional beacons. Make them face forward. Chin back, chest up. Lift the base of the skull. Apply that little scissor at the base of the legs. Lift yourself away from the ground. Take the arms forward. In this position, we're closing the hands. I shouldn't be able to pull them apart, but I also shouldn't be able to push the elbows together. It's an isometric, back and forth contraction. Use this to elongate and widen the space right between the shoulder blades. Don't just protract the shoulders forward. Breathe powerfully between the shoulders. Take the arms all the way up under the control of the lat muscles below the shoulder. Keep the neck long, keep the base of the skull tall, and then we laterally flex slightly away from the back leg and up. It's away and up, not just a lateral bend. The stretch is not just the front, but the whole flank, even the back, even the QL muscle. The psoas and the QL are right next to each other. One's in the front, one's in the back, but they run right along each other. So you want to make sure both of them are being elongated here. To do that, we have to pull the rib cage up and back just a little bit as we stretch. Take one more deep breath, fill up the whole lung. A lot of your lung is at the back of the rib cage, not just the front and sides. Bring the arms back down, come back to center, bring the feet together. Pay close attention to how you feel. Walk around in a couple circles, check in. How do your shoulders feel? Wrists, elbows, all of it's connected. These aren't just back exercises, these are whole body exercises, and I hope you take the time to get really good at them because they really improve your life.
If you're serious about the work and feeling well, learn more at stream.foundationtraining.com.
That's right.